What is the most uniquely American thing that you know? Baseball, apple pie, jazz music, dominating Canada in ice hockey? How about the 30-year fixed rate mortgage? That's right. Around the world, a fixed rate mortgage isn't that common. In fact, you go to other countries and when they say a fixed rate mortgage, they might talk about a 5-year fixed or a 7-year fixed. When they're saying that, it'd actually be illegal to say that here in the United States because it's what we would call a 5-year ARM or a 7-year ARM. Most of the world, when they get a loan, it's fixed for 5 years, but after that, they either have an adjustable rate or they have to go through the refinancing process again. Here in the United States, we've got some government-backed agencies that came up with a 30-year fixed loan. You see, the banks don't want to make a 30-year loan. That's a big risk to lend money at a fixed rate for such a long time. Really, it's not in the bank's best interest to have that locked in. But we recognized as a country that it's a great way to help regular people get into homes. Having your payment fixed and knowing what that's going to be over the course of 30 years makes it possible for regular people to get into houses. So that's why we came up with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, who back the conventional mortgages, and FHA on the government-backed side. VA loans as well have that great 30-year fixed rate mortgage. It allows for homeowners to know what their payments are going to be over the life of the loan and be more confident when they're making a purchase. Additionally, most places around the world are going to have you make a much larger down payment because when bankers look at the risk, they don't want to see someone with 3% down in a conventional loan, 3.5% down in an FHA loan, 0% down in a VA loan. Think about it. That's a huge risk for the person lending that money. But in the United States, regular people are able to leverage their money and only put that 3, 3.5, or 0% down to buy a home that they can live in as a primary residence. People often overlook just what a great benefit that is. When you think if you had to put 20% down and that wasn't an option, how many homeowners wouldn't be able to obtain a house for their family? Or if you didn't know what your payment was going to be in 5 years, how could you plan for the future? What if you're going to raise a family and you don't know what your house payment is going to be in 5 years or in 7 years? What if you had to refinance in 5 years? You don't know what your job is going to be. You may not qualify for that refinance. In Canada and Europe, not only do you have to put more down, and not only do they adjust, but a lot of times they come with prepayment penalties. So prepayment penalties are actually illegal here in the United States. That means you could pay off your loan completely early, whether you came into some cash and want to pay it off, or whether you want to refinance into a better loan. Nothing is stopping you from prepaying that loan. We also can do partial prepayments. What's a partial prepayment? That's when you take a little bit extra and put it towards your mortgage every month. Believe it or not, some loans don't allow you to make extra payments towards your principal. That's right. You're forced to pay the minimum payment so the bank knows they're getting their profit over the life of the loan. That's not legal in the United States. You can make a partial or full prepayment of your qualified mortgage at any time. Again, unique to us here in the United States. So a buyer in the United States who gets a 30-year fixed rate loan knows exactly what their payment's going to be in 28 years. Similar buyer in Canada is going to be at the mercy of the market in 5 years or 7 years and what the interest rates are then when they're forced to refinance. A borrower in France can get a longer term fixed rate loan, but if they want to move, they're going to face a hefty prepayment penalty just to move out of that house and sell the home. So next time you're thinking about something uniquely American, don't think about baseball, don't think about dominating Canada in hockey. Think about the beauty of home ownership and the ability to have a fixed payment over the life of a loan. Over 90% of the mortgages in the United States are a 30-year fixed loan. What's great about this is a 30-year loan is going to have a lower minimum payment. So that allows regular people to get into loans for a reasonable payment. And with that payment being fixed, they don't have to worry about it changing over the life of the loan. We have government-sponsored entities, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, who back these loans because frankly, it's not a good deal for the banks. So what these government agencies do, they take thousands of these loans and they package them all together and they sell them off to investors in the market. That way, an individual bank doesn't have the risk of just one loan going into default. That risk is spread across multiple loans, thousands of loans, and bought by bond investors. So the banks are able to lend that money sell it off to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac so that they've got money left over to make the loan to the next person. It all makes this possible for people to get into homes and have a low payment for the life of the loan. You see, the goals of these organizations and of our government was to get regular people into home ownership. It allows you to have a stability in your housing payment and to gain that generational wealth. Being able to pass down a home to your next generation is something that is uniquely American and uniquely obtainable for people of all income types. Not only do we have low down payment programs, but there's down payment assistance programs where people can get in for little to nothing out of pocket and be able to build that wealth over the life of the loan, paying down the balance while watching that property appreciate. And whether that means passing down a house with no payment to your heirs or selling that house so that they've got funds to go buy when and where they want. It's a great way for a family to take advantage of the systems that our government has provided and that great 30-year fixed rate loan that's helping homeowners for generations in this country get into houses and raise their families and build wealth. If you want to know how this impacts you and how you can build this generational wealth, call, text, or DM anytime.